How we doing, folks? My guests today in this episode are going to be former Olympians Emerson Smith and Troy Murphy. We go through and do a recap of the first few World Cup mogul events, and we look ahead to what the rest of the season holds. We also talk about a few things on the domestic level, and we break down our picks for what's going to happen to end the season. I hope you folks enjoy this episode. And also, In the Arena is donating $250 to the ID1 Foundation, which helps support mogul athletes around the country and helping them reach their full potential. I hope you folks enjoy. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks. Bada bing, bada boom. Gentlemen, we're rolling. Mr. Murphy, Mr. Smith, thank you guys for taking the time and getting to chat a little mogul skin.
Mr. Carroll, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we're all the way around with the Mr., so that works out perfectly. But it was funny. So kind of just before we went on, we were chatting a little bit about how much has kind of changed with the dynamic of the season. And, you know, we got to look at a little bit of Ruka, Idra, check out some of the super finals, watch all that stuff. And I think it's been pretty safe to say that they've done a pretty good job with all things considered with everything going on with COVID and everything else. I mean, the fact that they were even able to hold events, I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I feel like obviously we saw a lot of events drop off the calendar, but I think they were in countries where you probably would have expected that. So, you know, hats off to the few that have been able to do it. Finland, Sweden, Deer Valley. It's sweet that they're able to do Deer Valley. I feel like that's a high calling to be able to pull that one off. So good on them for that one.
Yeah, it'll be cool to get them on that one. It's a shame it's not at night, but it'll be good.
Yeah, I'm just like to see that. I think this is going to be the only World Cup in the U.S. for any discipline this year.
Yeah.
So just props to Deer Valley for making that happen. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. No tent though. I don't know what all the athletes can do without that fucking sweet tent. You know, all the food bikes in there. You know, that'll be tough. It's just a day event, so it'll be interesting. Yeah. But at least they're having it, so that'll be good. But yeah, I mean, I guess schedule wise, a couple things to kind of talk about are the fact that World Championships in China was canceled, moved to Calgary, canceled again, and moved to Kazakhstan now. So
I think the weird one, like, why did they try to move it to Calgary? That's super, like, that was never going to happen.
Yeah, that's
my hot take on that. But
well, it's interesting because like they don't even have an NBA seat. Like, you know, NBA is having a hard time being able to go into Canada and everything else. So like to try and think that they would have everyone go there to ski like a mogul event and then World Championships, it just seemed like it's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Canada's kind of a no-go zone.
But yeah, again, sweet that Kazakhstan was able to do it. You were saying before this, Bob, that I didn't realize they're going to do a whole World Championships and then they're going to host the normal World Cup again after that.
Yep. So that'll kind of be the end of the season. So we got Deer Valley and then Kazakhstan after World Championships. I think it's like March 14th and then like 11th and 12th will be like World Championships. So after the fact, they'll be able to hold that. And then NORAM Tour is canceled in other news there. They still holding the Deer Valley event, but that'll just essentially be switching it to a FIS Open. So it's essentially which I would think there shouldn't be any issues there. The only issue is you have to have like a certain amount of international competitors, but I'm assuming that that's not going to be an issue because a bunch of people from the World Cup will just hang around.
And the World Cup will do it.
Right.
He thought that at least a couple teams were going to stick around. That'll be pretty sick, actually. If you're a NORAM skier and you get to ski against a bunch of World Cup people at Deer Valley, that's pretty sweet.
Dude, we were actually talking about it in Winter Park, and there was in 2009 Mount Gabriel, the World Cup was the next weekend, and they allowed like all the World Cup skiers to ski it. So the NORAM had like 95 people. It was like 95 guys. It was crazy, and that's also when it was like negative 44 degrees.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about
like,
that.
Oh my God, it was so fucking cold. It was the coldest event ever. Like, and clear, no wind, no nothing, just clear, and like literally like 95 males and like 78 girls. It was crazy.
So they just added to the quota. They're just like normal World Cup or normal NORAM, and then just plunk everybody right in there.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was ended. Yeah, it was. It was.
I remember. I don't know. I just remember like Glenn talking about how FIS has a minimum operating temperature, and they disregarded it for that, and he was pissed, something like that. I vaguely remember that discussion.
Well, I think part of that, the reason they disregarded it is because the World Cup was the next weekend, and a lot of the World Cup skiers like wanted to compete in it. Literally, all the mountains on the East Coast were closed. Mount Gabriel, the mountain, was closed. The only lift that was spinning on the East Coast was that lift for the World Cup, or I mean, for the NORAM. It was brutal. Yeah, not a good event. But
how'd you do there, Bob?
I don't know, probably like 60th. I don't know. It was like this is my first NORAM tour. Yeah, no, not good. Not good. Probably sweet top to bottom though, like 68th place. But looking back, so a few takeaways. Zemba not able to be here. He's here in spirit, but just a few things to touch on there because we did this whole preview. We did it out right before, a couple days before, Ruka happened, and then a lot of our picks. And Mr. Murphy, a lot of I have your picks written down too, and a lot of it kind of got screwed up with Kingsbury kind of getting hurt. But it looks like he'll be back for Deer Valley. So that screwed up a lot of the season standings and stuff like that. But so far, we're still looking, at least Zemba and I are still looking pretty good for the Nations Cup. So the U.S.
Yeah, you guys called that.
We're still looking pretty good there. So we'll see how the rest of the season kind of plays out.
And World Champs doesn't count for that, right? Or does it?
No, World Champs won't count for that. So essentially, you got Deer Valley, 2 days at Deer Valley, singles duels, and then you'll have the 1 day at Kazakhstan. So that'll kind of be
that FIS event wouldn't count for that either at Deer Valley.
No. Yeah, and it was interesting trying to figure out the breakdown because I know some other mountains in the U.S. were trying to talk about doing like holding a spot to do like a NORAM, because I think for Continental Cup, so to be able to where they have that spot where you're guaranteed World Cup starts and all those things, you need to have at least 3 events. And those 3 events, you need to have at least, I think it's like 75% of the quota needs to be what the old quota was last year for Canadians that were international nations that like competed in it. So you needed to make sure that there was like a certain amount of Canadian. None of them are obviously coming down and everything else. So kind of made that a moot point, but is what it is. So no NORAM tour. At least we got a World Cup tour, and we got to selections went off too, which was pretty interesting that they were, all things considered, able to kind of throw that off. Seemed to go out without a hitch. Nobody was really, knock on wood, everyone tested in. So hopefully everybody's clean on the way out.
To go to selections?
Everybody. Yeah, you had to have a test. And
how did they make all that work? Did you have to do it there, or you just had to?
It was like, I think it was 72 hours before arrival. You had to have like a negative COVID test.
Yeah, you could mail them into wherever you wanted to do, and then proof of results. You were good to go.
Got it.
Yeah. And it was actually one of the best setups coaching there. You didn't have any parents or anybody at the bottom. You had no one breathing on your neck. Like everyone was separated. Everyone was wearing masks, and it was like could actually breathe and like.
Yeah,
no one. Yeah, it was not. That part was sick. That part was super nice. It was good to be able to kind of have that. But let's go into it. What were you guys' thoughts on kind of Ruka and Idra and the beginning of the season?
You want to start, Doug?
Yeah, I got pretty much from Ruka. My big takeaway was Brody Summers in Ruka. I thought out of all the skiing, he kind of skied like the biggest man there. Blew it in the last round, but I was impressed with him. Besides that, like obviously Akuma, sick. That was my big one from Ruka, though, was Brody.
Yeah.
I was pretty hyped on the American dudes for the most part. Like in Ruka, I thought that Dylan skied super well. I think he was maybe a little bit slow and needs to do like a 10 or needs to do a better trick. But I thought like his skiing, if you just took it down to like the skiing, he to me looked the strongest. Obviously, other guys like a Brody or Akuma or other people are skiing faster, but if you just boil it down to like who's looking the best in the turns, I thought Dylan looked really good. So props to him. And then Brad and Nick like pulling it off in Sweden was also pretty sick to watch. I think Brad probably got a little bit underscored on the singles day there, but Nick skied really well. And then Brad pulled it in that dual event too. So I was hyped to see that. I think the US guys need to, start performing, and it seems like I think we're on the right track there. So I'm excited to see that. Other than that, yeah, I mean, obviously Akuma's always exciting to watch. His Ruka run was sick. Sweden, I think just like the classic Akuma stuff, going so fast, going huge, and kind of like not leaving anything on the table. So I'm super excited to see that at Deer Valley, especially with Mick back in the game, kind of pushing him even more. When those two are on, it's just like a pretty cool dynamic, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty much on another level when those two go at it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Akuma was skiing absolutely rock solid. But the interesting thing is, I mean, with Idra and with Kingsbury not being able to go and kind of having the back injury, it did open the door so much, and it made it so much more intriguing to kind of go through and watch. And one of the people that's definitely taken advantage of it is Ludwig. I mean, I definitely we chatted about him like a little bit kind of before, but that was definitely out of left field. Like, I mean, I know he did well in that FIS Open to like start off the year, but I definitely did not kind of expect to see that. I mean, he's essentially tied for number one in the world with Akuma. That's the biggest surprise for me. I was like, holy shit! Like, I didn't see that one coming. Definitely did not.
That's a good take for sure. I actually saw him. I was at Deer Valley today, and I saw he and Felix and I think a couple of the younger Swedish boys in the parking lot today. So I got to catch up with them. Good to see those guys. I think that those guys are I think if you look at it from like a technical stance, it's probably not like your favorite skiing, but I think they've been working super hard and they just keep putting runs through, and it's paying off for them.
Yeah, as just like a sheer men's team, they just put runs down, and one of them every event kind of steps up, and they make it into the super. And then Ludwig he's been doing it kind of past Sweden and Ruka. He did it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely I mean, hats off to him. It's been a while since he'd been on the podium. I'm pretty sure it had been a bit, so it's nice to see a little resurgence out of him. But yeah, I was definitely surprised with some of those scores and stuff like that. Like speaking to it, I mean, I thought Marco Tade there in Ruka was pretty interesting. Like I thought that was pretty wide open. Like I thought that there was definitely, Matt or Brody or could have, really kind of taking control. And that's one of the things with Kingsbury kind of being out, is that the skiing, you have really a lot more of those opportunities. I feel like it's less in Idra. It seemed like it was less because the course was so much easier. So it seemed like it makes it really difficult on the judges when, the big differentiator there is essentially DD. I mean, if everyone just goes tight and fast, I mean, it's really hard to tell if someone's doing a pivot slide or someone's actually carving a ski and getting some good tip pressure. Like everyone's essentially just going straight and tight, and turns into more of an air show. And obviously you're going to have that throughout the course of a World Cup tour. But like looking through at those two different events, I mean, Ruka was definitely, I thought the quality of skiing was not as good as Idra. But I mean, that also placates kind of to what the courses offer and stuff like that,
Yeah, I feel like the judges aren't even like looking at the turn technique really. It's like just about if your feet are together. But I wish there was a little bit more attention to detail there, like how are you actually skiing? Like how the turns actually look? Is it like technically sound? Because I think if they were actually looking at that, I think you'd see a little bit different results for sure. Idra, I get that it's kind of a wash because everybody's just like trying to ski as fast as they can. But I thought at Ruka there was people who are skiing a lot better that maybe were not getting hooked up, and there are people who are skiing pretty sloppy who were getting hooked up. Not sloppy, but like feet together, but like your feet aren't really doing anything. You're just like pivoting and slapping your way down the Mogul course compared to kind of driving that tip in a little bit. So I'd like to see more emphasis on technique.
I think that's one of those Deer Valley in particular bring it out.
Yeah, we could
scores
see that here for sure.
So That'll
Yeah,
be
no.
fun.
Yeah, no, it should be good to see. And I heard they extended the bottom section, so I'm really excited about having a nice long bottom section. Hopefully at Deer Valley, hopefully separate the men from the boys a little bit, be a little bit steeper in that top. But
I was on the course the other day. The top section looks like way more chill than what I remember. Like there's not a huge waterfall or anything like that. And then the bottom jump table is like, I don't know, maybe like 8 feet of table, which is
Big.
sick.
Wow.
Yeah. I also don't remember that when I was competing. I wish they had that.
So you got a lot of room there, huh?
Yeah, it seemed, I don't know, it seemed like the landing maybe was shorter, like the chop was shorter than what it used to be, but the table was extended, so you get more steep landing like further down the hill, which will be sick.
Do you know who did the course this year? Is it Tony Gilpin again, or?
Yeah, Tony and I think Nat are both kind of up there, and then Sea Dog's up there too. So
Okay. Yeah, Sea Dog did a great job with the course of selections. I mean, it definitely was. It was. You guys would have lit that thing up. I think even a old guy like me would have gotten down that. It was pretty flat, pretty easy. It was like licking your chops. Sea Dog's trying to get everybody to come out of retirement. So.
I talk about the women's field too, though.
Yeah, I mean, on the women's side, the Japanese girls were. I thought. I mean. Yanni's got them skiing at a very, very high level. They're definitely looking really sharp. I think Perrine, the back Japan makes my heart go pitter patter. I definitely, last year that's what I was throwing. So also, I love that up top. I think it's a good way. It's presented very well, like as it exits down and everything else. And she's skiing. She just keeps her upper body so quiet. It's just it's pretty fun. Pretty fun to watch for sure.
Really, really well. Very strong for sure. Yeah, the Japanese girls in Sweden really showed up. That was pretty sick. And then it's super cool to see how deep the US women's field is. Like it seems like any one of those girls can kind of like show up on any given day, which is pretty sick. Like Kai Owens showed up for sure in that final run one in Ruka with like that like manly cork 7, like really big, really nice cork 7, which I'm stoked on. Needs to clean up the skiing maybe a little bit, but all those girls have like their one thing that they're really good at, or a couple things they're really good at, and any of them can lay it down, it seems like, any day. So that's pretty cool.
I'm thinking Kai Owens is gonna have her day here soon. I think she's gonna have the day where she puts it all together, and I think she might rival Perrine.
I think so.
I do. I think on her best day, she could do it.
I haven't seen her. I mean, I've only seen her ski in competition. I think she's got a little bit of work to do in the turns, but maybe that's happening. I don't know.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I haven't. Other than kind of Ruka, because she was kind of hurt too, wasn't she? Kai, or no?
She didn't compete in that FIS Open.
Okay.
I didn't hear why or anything, but
yeah, I think she was hurt or banged up or something for that. But yeah, I mean, she's skied great. I mean, I thought Tess skied pretty well. I was kind of surprised that I thought Tess got a little bit underscored in Ruka. From what I remember watching the video, I was kind of surprised at where she ended up, and compared to Justine. I mean, Justine, it was kind of a stock run. I mean, I wasn't really blown away. It's one of those things, especially when you get that side view and you're able to see that exit from the top air.
Yeah.
It just kind of drives you a little bit crazy sometimes when you're watching some of that.
Yeah, I wish it was all from the front or all from the side. I don't know. All from the front would be good.
Yep. I mean, it's the same thing the judges get. So, a couple, if you throw in a few replays where you have a couple side angles, but at the same time, like, it's nice to be able to get the same kind of presentation that you're used to there.
So here's a question for you. Have either of you heard at Deer Valley what they're doing with the panel? I've heard mixed rumors. Are they doing live judging, or are they doing camera judging?
They have the big shipping containers out like they normally do.
Okay.
2 of them. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but I would assume it'd be in person.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything there. I know over the fall, or at least at the Open in Idra, I can't remember for the World Cup or not, but they had like 13 judges. Some were they had like 3 or 4 that were like in person, and then they had like 7 or 8 that were like watching the feed, which is pretty wild.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I don't know.
That's a nuts one.
It seems like it's got to be one or the other. Like everybody's got to be, or at least they got to be different. Like they have to be judging. You know what I mean? Like everybody who's judging live should be judging the same thing. Everybody who's judging in person should be judging the same thing. So it's not all mixed up or something. You know? Because like if you have one judge judging airs who's in person and one judge judging airs who's remote, like I think you're just going to get wildly different perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I think they could, hopefully they would be able to, you'd have a radio or you'd be able to communicate with them at the same time. Like how does that, I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on the head judge to be able to like, all right, the remote person's got it as a 9.2. He's got it as a 6.8.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Hopefully in person. I feel like that's like the only way to do it.
And I think they'll be able to do that. I mean, I would assume they'd be able to do that here. The tough thing is you have to have a certain amount of international judges as well, right? I think they'll be fine with having the judges for the U.S. be able to make it out and stuff like that. But having those people come in and kind of quarantine, I think is the difficult part. If you have to have judges from Canada or wherever else, and then
how does that work? Do they have to? They don't have to quarantine, right? When they get here, you just have to probably present a negative test before you fly in.
I think it's a negative test before you come in. I don't think that you have to quarantine.
No, there's no way.
But it is when you get home. I know, like, if they have to go, like, you know, Australia, bless their hearts, we're 10 weeks, dude. 10 weeks in Ruka.
Yeah.
I don't, like, hands off to all those boys and girls out there. Like, I don't know how the hell you would do that. I mean.
Like they got into the Nordic skiing pretty heavy. Yeah. Really embracing the culture. Yeah, that is gnarly. I cannot imagine being there for that long.
10 weeks in darkness.
Dog, I think you're up for it. 10 weeks.
Big Finland guy, this guy.
I don't think I'd last.
I don't know. Give me a pair of park skis, you know, maybe a snowmobile. I probably could do it.
Ooh.
Or ice. Get some hockey fired up. That'd be fun.
Get into cross country. I guess that's the way to go there. One of the other things in Ruka that kind of happened that was, I think Kazakhstan had most of their team wasn't able to compete because somebody in the group tested positive. Because I know Dimitri, I think, was one of my picks for might have been for Ruka or for the overall title, and then I saw that and I was like, that's a bummer that Yulia wasn't able to ski, and a lot of those guys that are they got a pretty good team, you know, and he's holding down the fort, like 31. He's the last old guy in there.
He's still doing
still doing it, still hammering it out. So it's good to see there's still a couple old guys hanging around.
The Swedish boys were telling me that the way that came to light was one of the Kazakhstan guys did like a back half and like landed on his head and got pretty messed up. And when they took him to the hospital, they found out there that he had COVID. Whoa. That's the story that I heard today, which is pretty crazy.
That was in Sweden, right?
I can't remember where they said it was.
Because someone tested positive in Ruka, pulled from the event, competed Sweden singles, and then duels day. Yeah, because then they all got pulled from it there.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but that's what Ludwig and Felix told me today.
Interesting how that it was. Well, they should all be back and healthy for DV, hopefully.
Yep, they were stateside.
Yeah. What do you guys think for Deer Valley? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Who do you guys think are gonna kind of come out and separate themselves?
I'm going Nick on Deer Valley for sure. I think I feel like he's gonna be better, to be honest with you. Like I feel like that guy's been going so hard for so long that like a little bit of time off, he's just gonna be like so hungry. And he put up that clip of him doing that pretty sick Cork 7 truck driver. Yeah, it just doesn't. You can't expect that guy lost any ground.
No.
In that short of a time. So I think he's going to be on fire. And I think Perrine just looks so strong that, like I said, any of those American girls could show up and have a day. Same with the Japanese girls, but I think like they have to have a day for real if they're gonna take down Perrine, because she's consistent and every run of hers seems like it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Mick. I don't think he would come back unless he was ready to win.
Mhm.
Like if
Oh, for sure.
if there was any doubt, he wouldn't do it.
Mhm.
So if he's skiing it, I think he's going to show up. And then I'd probably have to say I think I'm going with Brody and Matt are going to round out that podium.
Dang.
That's
Love
my
that.
that's my hot pick.
Matt
pick.
has got to be firing right now for a podium. That guy's,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's ready.
Yeah, well, I mean, Matt had a good he podiumed in at the duels event, I think in
Oh, true. Yeah.
Madrid. Yeah, so I think he tied for first, him and Ludwig, right? I think they were the
Yeah.
who tied there for the win, and
In the
he's
singles, though, man, I feel like that dude is so hungry. He's been doing like the nicest back pulls ever. Both of those boys.
yeah, they have.
He's got a W on Deer Valley, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, but I think how can you not call out a little bit of Akuma there? I mean, he had a smoke show of a run last year under the lights.
He did, but I
saucy.
think putting the cane back in it, I think he's gonna blow up.
You think he's just gonna push it too hard? I don't know, dude. It seems like sometimes when those guys are going back and forth, Akuma shows up and like lays it down.
Yeah, but like the first one, I mean, Big Dog's back in town.
Interesting to see how it all plays out. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's definitely hard to go against Mick there for sure. But Brody's an interesting one because he's so tall and it shows up so well on those longer courses and stuff like that. I mean, the skiing here, I think really you're able to kind of separate, and there's something to be said to kind of have that dynamic up and down that he kind of has. I think it'll definitely help for him. I would go. I mean, I think I'm going to pick Akuma. I think Akuma's going to win. I think Kingsbury's going to have a little rust to kind of shake off. I could be wrong, but
So what's the top three men and women? What do you guys think?
I have Akuma winning for the men, and then I have Kingsbury. I think will be second, and then I got Matty Graham in third.
I think I'm gonna do Mick, Akuma, and then man, my third, like I feel like I can go so many different places, but I could see Matt, I could see Ben, I could see like a Brad showing up and doing that one. Man, if I had to like give you an answer, it'd be Mick, Akuma, Ben, I think.
E-Dog?
I'm going Mick.
And then Brody,
Matt.
Brody, Matt. That's where you're feeling. All
Yep.
right.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it all lays out. What about on the? I got stakes in the game on the women's side, so I can't comment on the ladies. So I'll let you guys hash it out on the women's side.
I would tell us gonna sweep the women's podium.
So.
I would say Perrine. Man, that's a tough one, but Perrine, I think Jalen is a strong contender. I feel like she can just really put some distance on the other girls in that middle, skiing really fast. So I'd probably go her second, and then, man, I don't know. I feel like, again, it's like a toss-up, but there's a lot of people who could take a spot on the podium. So maybe I feel like Tess is due for one. I feel like for some reason the women's team always shows up and like gets at least 2 spots in the podium at Deer Valley, if not 3.
Yeah.
So,
well, one of the things just on Jalen, I don't know if she's fully back healthy yet. I know she hurt her back.
I saw her today though at Deer Valley. She was skiing.
So yeah, I mean maybe she'll be good to go, but I know she did hurt her back there. So I don't know if she's gonna be able to compete or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to go Perrine, Jakara, and then I'm going to go Kai.
I like that.
I think she's going to pull one out.
Hunter Bailey was saying on the lip today that he thought Nick Page could do pretty well. And
I was just going to say, I mean, Nick, throwing the 14 in Ruka, getting his first podium, and I think it'll be a little bit interesting or a little bit different, I should say, with like having to deal with the pressure and stuff like that at Deer Valley. It's not the same. You don't have 10,000 people under the lights and everything else. It'll be a day event. So I'm curious how much that kind of allows people to be a little bit freer, maybe not kind of feel the noise and feel the pressure of all those people and all those eyes at the bottom of the course, where you can kind of just go out home mountain and, you know, if he's got plenty of room to do that 14, I guess, on the bottom air. It sounds like there's some space there.
Yeah, there's space. I think that plays both ways. Like the crowd not be. I think for some people, like the crowd helps. I feel like the crowd helped me maybe. Like I thought that having that many people there just got you super hyped, but then other people probably vice versa. So it probably depends on the person. Like I was watching X Games the other night and Super Pipe, and like Al Ferreira, to me, he's like a dude who feeds on the crowd, and it seemed like he was having a tough time in the pipe just because there was like nobody there. So I wonder if that could be, like you're saying, like it could help some people, could hurt others.
I think the other thing with like Deer Valley too is it isn't more U.S. men make it in that final than almost any other of the years in the past. Like I think you could probably expect 4 U.S. men, maybe even 5, to slip in that final.
Really?
I was saying, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was also saying today on the lift that I think the Dilbs could show up. Dylan Walzak could show up.
I think he could.
Yeah, if he can just like ski a little bit faster and do a 10, I think he could have a great result. Because his like skiing right now, based on the Ruka stuff at least, was really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think when like courses get a little bit more challenging, which Deer Valley could potentially, like people are already skiing it, like they have the Wasatch team skiing it, so it's going to have maybe a little bit more teeth by the time that they compete on singles. So I think Dylan could maybe have himself a night there. I hope so.
I think he will. I think, I mean, he certainly put up some results on Deer Valley before. Like, you know, I mean, he was top finisher for the U.S. and world champ singles.
He got second there that 1 year.
Yeah, he got
second in 2015 in duels. Like, I don't think you can ever count him out.
Yeah.
I think if he slips in a super final, it won't be another 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he gets in there, he's got a good result under him. I think he'd cut loose a little.
I hope he's doing the big tricks. We'll see. And it also seems like Marco is skiing pretty well. He's like, I feel like that guy's usually kind of like hot and cold, and he's been in both. Has he been in both super finals, or at least in both finals so far?
I think he was in both finals.
Yeah, so he could be another one. He got.
He podiumed at Deer Valley, right? Did he get second or he skied really? Yeah.
I don't know. This is going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to watch.
And then you got the wild cards of everybody coming out of selections, which is kind of on the men's side. I mean, at least in years past. You know? So I know Joel, obviously, who I thought was retired. I'm pretty sure the last one I was, but he skied awesome. He's really skiing super, super well for not having a lot of time training and stuff like that. I mean, I really think he's skiing great. And then who else got the start? Bubba Wyatt Ankowitz. He got a start. Also,
no, he had a start last year too.
No, this is his first.
He's a forerunner.
Yep. So this is his first start. He was skiing well at selections. I mean, it's like I said, it was tough on the judges at selections because the course was so easy. It made it difficult to differentiate, people's skiing and stuff like that. I definitely felt for the judges at selections a little bit. It was like, what are you gonna score that? But it's had to be like the highest scoring selections. There was like 90s they're throwing out. Like,
I heard some high ones.
Yeah, there were some high scores.
We might have to fact check that one with Casey Andringa. He might have taken a 90 something.
There's a 90 in there before. I was gonna say
I can't guarantee it, but he might have. He might have.
Yeah,
but no, my I think out of selections, the underdogs, I think Beauregard might slip in there.
Yeah,
I do.
He's gotten it. It seems like he's got his air dialed now.
He's got his airs dialed, and he's starting to like ski consistent.
Yeah,
which is huge for him. Like he's always been good, but just under pressure, he's cracked. And this year, 2 days at selections, starts on the line, come out, get him. I think he might pop in that final at Deer Valley.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
skiing. I mean, he's got a great turn too. I mean, he's got that Killington, a lot of tip drive, and it's definitely fun to watch. And it seemed like he got those airs dialed in for sure, at least compared to where they were in the past. So it'd be interesting to see. There's a lot of good skiing at Selection, so it's definitely nice to see that the top 10, especially. I mean, it was definitely pretty competitive on the men's side, for sure.
Now on the women's side,
Lemley. Go talk about Elizabeth Lemley. She's 14. She's skiing super well and really aggressive. Got a good turn. I mean, Dowling obviously knows what he's doing. You know, he's a legend in his own right, and he's produced as much as anybody, if not more than anybody. I mean, and Lemley's definitely the next one. Him and Phil Marquis got her skiing really well.
Yeah, and she's got the air package going too.
Yep.
I mean, is it a loop truck up top?
Loop truck up top, and then she's got the D-spin on the bottom. So I mean, it's a pretty good. And she goes big, skis aggressive. So be interesting, because I always feel like there's always a couple people from selections, at least in the past, that never gotten a shot. You know, they finally get that one World Cup start, and then boom, next thing you know, they're off to the races.
Yeah, I feel like that could very well happen. It'd be sick. I mean, if any of those people had a night or a day, I guess it would be awesome. I'd be super excited for Joel, super excited for Ian. I feel like that guy's been working so hard for so long. Same with Bubba. Like, those two names are like always there. So it'd be cool if they can like show up and make it happen right out of the gate here. It'd be super cool. Are they going to? That's just a U.S. start, right? They don't have a Kazakhstan start. Oh, that's a world championship, I guess. Anyway.
Well, it's a World Cup too on the back end, right?
I wonder if they're going to send like the whole team, because World Championships will just be the few people who qualify. Not everybody will qualify, or maybe they will.
A couple more people out.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to send the whole crew over there. I mean, if you're over there competing the next day, I mean, it kind of makes sense to have everybody there, so they'd be good to go in that regard. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see for sure.
How's Avatar feeling, Bob? It sounded like she was. I mean, Jeff said that he really likes her stuff in Winter Park.
Yeah, I thought she's she's putting in a ton of hard work, and I think she's skiing well. She got the results that she needed to get the start, and I think if she continues to keep skiing aggressive and going big, I think she'll be in good shape. Hopefully.
Mm-hmm. I like how many girls are doing the Quirk Sav, and
that was nice to see it at selections. I mean, there's definitely a lot of ladies now up in the DD and everything else. So it's pretty good that some of them had higher DD runs than some of the guys, which is definitely a good thing. Good thing to see. Yeah.
Good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at that.
Yeah. Well, another guy that skied really well, he just cracked a little bit at selections, it seemed, was Cole. Cole, why am I blanking on McDonald? Yeah. I think he qualified in first both days. I mean, he was skiing really well, and then just a little too much chutzpah when it came to nut crunching time. But he was skiing great, jumping well.
Yeah, it seemed for him it was, he day one qualified first. I can't speak if it was his first final going into first, and then kind of cracked in that final one, day one, and then day two figured it out, final one.
Mm-hmm.
And then super final, kind of blew it day two. Like, he's one you wish there was a NORAM tour, because he would.
Mm-hmm.
You'd expect big things out of him there, like now that he's had like winning a couple rounds, he's done a super final, like he could go on to kind of dominate that NORAM tour, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be super interesting too. I mean, he's kind of always had him and Nick were always chasing each other, and you can see it in the talent's there. DD skiing wise, I mean, he skis. He's got a nice turn. He's aggressive, and we'll see what happens at that FIS Open. I mean, that'll kind of be an interesting dynamic too, because you'll have like that NORAM level against some of those World Cup skiers. I mean, that'll kind of be a fun event to check out for sure, because I think that'll be interesting to see how it all stacks up. It probably won't be a full World Cup field, but like Australia's definitely going to be there because they can't go home. So, at least they're not in Ruka anymore for 10 weeks. So, I mean, Australia's definitely going to ski that, I would imagine. So,
That's going to be a cool one to watch. I feel like, when you're like the World Cup skier and then you have to ski against those Norm kids, like, or the, Europa Cup or whoever that next level down is, like, you just know those guys are going to go so hard. You kind of almost show up to those events as a World Cup skier, like, shit, I have to, really have to, hammer on this one because all these young bucks are going to really be coming for me. And
Yeah, they
somebody
all
always,
want to be
pops
there.
in there and crush it. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. So, what do you guys think on the rest of the year? Picks for who you think's going to kind of take the title on the men's and women's. Right now you got Akuma and Ludwig that are tied for the lead. You got Maddie Graham who's sitting in third. Let's go through. Let me pull up for the men. Let's see.
I'm pulling it up. I'll be right back.
You're good. You are good. Let's see. I got all right. So women, I'll do women first. We got Perrine sitting in first. She's got a 95-point lead. She's sitting 300 points over Jalen Koffs in second. Aniri Kawamura. Is that right, E-Dog? Does that sound good?
You'd get me on the pronunciation. I know who you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. So she's sitting in third. Hannah Soar in fourth. Justine in fifth, Anastasia Simonova sixth, Tess Johnson seventh, and let's see, Hinako Timataka. I'm going to go with. I'm going to say that sounds right. Chikara Anthony in ninth, and Kisara Sumiyoshi in 10th, and then your girl Kai Owen sitting in 11th right there. So all fairly close point wise. So it'll be interesting to kind of see. With only essentially 3 events to go, you got the one event in Kazakhstan, and then you got 2 at DV. What do you guys think on the ladies' side? Do you think Perrine's going to essentially hold on to that?
Can you give me the top 3 real quick again? Sorry.
Top 3? Yeah, no, you're good. So you got third is Anira Kawamura with 172 points. Then Jalen's in second with 205. Then you got Perrine in first with 300.
I think Perrine's going to take it. I think she's just too consistent to, even if she loses a couple events, I don't think she's not going to be on the box. So I think she'll take it. I'm going to put Jalen in second, and then I think Hannah Soar is going to round it out.
I like that. Yeah, I could see that. I think, Jalen and Perrine and I would be a pretty safe bet for 1 and 2. 3, I didn't hear exactly how tight the scores are, but is Hannah in fourth?
Hannah's in fourth, yep.
Ooh, yeah, I could see that. I think she could pull out the big tricks at Deer Valley and do really well. I don't know. What's Kazakhstan like for somebody with a big air package? I don't really know, but yeah, I think she could do really well.
It is a pretty flat course. Kind of
What's
flat,
it similar to?
Ooh. I want to say Killington NORAM, but like new school Killington NORAM, not outer limits.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like that with a bottom air that falls away more.
Okay.
Got it.
Maybe a little longer.
A little bit longer too. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting to see how that, and I think that's just a duel as well. So that makes it definitely a little bit more of kind of a crapshoot of like what's going to happen there,
True.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see. I mean, you only have one single event left, and then you got 2 duels events. So that makes it definitely makes things a little bit more kind of wide open and how things can kind of move and groove there. On the men's side, you got Ludwig and Akuma are tied for first and second with 172 points. And then you got Matt Graham's in third with 149. He's 2 points ahead of Marco Tade with 147 in fourth. Brody Summers is in fifth with 146. So those guys are all separated by 3 points. So it's
and then how far of a lead do Ludwig and Akuma have?
They have about 30 points, 20 points, not much.
And they were at 170.
172, then 149. So yeah, not too. Not too.
Where's the boy Brad sitting with all these duels?
Brad's sitting with. I know I was thinking the exact same thing with all the duels left. Brad's in 7th in the world right now with 124 points. So I feel like you got to put Brad on the podium at one of those spots for sure. Like without like whether it's a home mountain at TV or Kazakhstan, like I'm going to put Brad at one of those spots. He's going to be on the podium for sure.
Yeah.
I think he's just
all those guys that you just said though, like that are packed up in there, are all good dual skiers. Like Marco's sick dual skier, Matt and Brody both sick dual skiers. Akuma and Ludwig, I like all those guys are good in the duels.
Yeah, so rounded just to finish off the top 10 there. I mean, it kind of drops off after the top 8. Nick Page is sitting in 8th with 122, and then Sasha Theocaris in 9th with 80, and Jordan Kober in 10th with 61, and you got Dilby in 11th with 59. So really, like those top 8 guys are really the only ones that I would say are going to be in striking distance to kind of make it happen. And then how high can Kingsbury go? It's an interesting thing. Like 300 points is all that's out there to get. So I mean, I don't know if that's enough to close the gap. You know, I think that's a little bit tough of an ask. But who knows?
Where's Cavett sitting?
Ben is sitting in 6th with 131 points.
That's a hard one. That's super hard.
I'm going with the classic overall with a little toss around. I'm thinking Akuma's taking it.
Okay.
I think Mick's going to come in 2nd, and Cavett's going to round it out.
Really? You think Ben's going to round it out, huh?
I do. I think Mick's going to win out. I don't think he's losing.
I think I could see like Akuma, Mick. I might put Matt though 3rd.
I got Matty on there for sure. I think Matt Graham's he's a good dueler. He's a good skier here. I think Matt will be in the top 3. And I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I could see Brad sneaking up there, especially if he's able to duel well and ski well. He's at the home mountain here for the next 2 events. I mean, it's just such a unique thing because the season's like so short. I mean, you're good. There's only 3, there's only 3 stops left. So it's like, how is that gonna?
It's shaping up well for Brad too. Like he's one of those guys who like skis really well at certain places, and Deer Valley is definitely one of those places. Japan's another one. It's a bummer that that got taken off for him, but the fact that 2 of them are at Deer Valley, like on his home turf, and then 2 of them are duels, that sets up pretty well for him. Yeah,
no, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, hopefully Nick can get a few results in there as well. I mean, he's having obviously a career year for him. He got his first podium. He was the first American to do 14 in an event. So he's kind of checking a lot of boxes there. And I think he's definitely had a breakthrough this season, at least to me, like mentally. He's kind of I feel like it hits a different gear once you kind of get that podium, right? It's like you're knocking on the door, you've had some good results, and then finally you're able to kind of get that podium there. And I feel like it gets a little bit of that monkey off the back for him.
It feels validated.
Right. Because he's kind of, at least here in the U.S., he's definitely been somewhat of like the chosen one or the next prodigy to come in. And it's definitely well-deserved because, I mean, he's a super hard worker and he's always out grinding. So, I mean, I think for him, it's got to be nice to see that he's finally getting some of those results and stuff like that. Because I think last year at Deer Valley was his first final, right? And he got top 10, I think there. I think he got like 9th or something like that. So it was kind of a exciting time for him. So I think that he's got a good opportunity there.
Yeah, I'm psyched for him. Yeah, he has been like the prodigy kind of kid in the U.S. forever, but it doesn't seem like it's ever like I feel like a lot of people who have that weight on their shoulders, like it gets to them and maybe they don't end up working that hard, they kind of just fall off. But he is just like has been constantly going, like always pushing it in the air, always like working pretty hard. So I'm psyched to see that. It's like to see him kind of follow through.
We were just talking about Nick Page and kind of him working through, kind of getting that monkey off of his back of finally breaking through with the podium. And he's kind of been dubbed as the prodigy and the next great, U.S. skier. And there's definitely some pressure that comes with that. But it seems that he's finally kind of broken through. He got that first result last year and things like that.
He, I don't know. I've seen him train some this year and then just like Ruka, obviously, like good result, not the best, but like he did a 14. I mean, that's insane in its own. And then Sweden, I mean, he kind of became a boy to a man. Like,
Yeah.
just watching him train and then compete, like he doesn't really ski like timid anymore, and I think he will be a huge threat in the future. I don't know how near the future. Like, I think he can maybe put up another podium this year, but like years to come after that, I mean, I think he'll dominate.
He's one of the Dub 10 boys. We got to talk about that. Like, who is it? It's Nick, Mick. Kuma just posted a nasty Dub 10 from Finland.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so sick. I can't remember who else. There's definitely at least one more, I think. But
can Escobar do it?
I think he probably, yeah. Well, I think he and Ben did it at Mijev like years ago, and they had that really big bottom air. They were doing dubs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, those guys have obviously just like a ton of upside in the jump department, especially if the rules get maybe a little bit more lax.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully they do kind of allow them to be a little bit more lax, and I think it's a big gap. It's a big jump because of the risk of injury and everything else, and you get people that are out of their comfort zones trying things that they probably shouldn't be doing. I mean, that's the hard thing, because you do have those guys that are clearly capable of doing that, right? And it's not like a stretch for them to be able to perform that in a run. And then you have somebody who's like, I think I can do it. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it, bro.
I think that I was thinking about this. I've been thinking about this a little bit. I think that mogul skiing should be judged on, divided up evenly. Like 1/3 of your score is your jump, 1/3 of your score is your turn, 1/3 of your score is your speed. Because then it makes it so that everybody has their thing, right? Like a guy like Nick Page can show up and do the dub 10 and it's super sick. But then a guy like Dilby can go and ski like a really, really nice middle section and get scored for it. And then a guy like Walter Wahlberg can go and like hammer a middle section unbelievably fast and get his score. So it'll make it so it's like a little bit more diverse. So you don't have everybody doing the same cookie cutter run, like just trying to be clean with no mistakes. It'll be like people will actually be playing to their strengths and trying to win, kind of in their own way. I think it'll make it interesting. And I think it'll also make it so that, a guy who can ski fast and ski clean doesn't have to do the dub and can still win if the scores are truly even, right? Like if it's equally weighted between those three things. That's my take.
I think that's tough.
Yeah,
I think that's tough. I think especially if you're gonna do that, then you have to make the courses longer. Like if you're gonna set it up and
that's the thing is like it will change. Like different people will be favored at different areas, right? Like if you put the World Cup at Winter Park, the dude who has a sick jump package isn't going to win because the jumps are small, right? So like it kind of makes it so that you have to like kind of match your skill level to the course a little bit too, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a way that you can change the scoring to try to make it a little bit more even, but I think the main thing, in my opinion, is getting more money into the sport to keep people around. I mean, I think that they like, rather than trying to do another scoring change, try to get more money in to keep people around. If you're making, I don't know, 80 grand a year to be a judge, like I bet you guys that were former skiers and know what's going on will be like, yeah, I'll go do a World Cup tour and I'll judge. Rather than some of these people that, have never really even skied bumps before or haven't in a long time, and they're going off judging and kind of influencing events and Olympics and all these things. And, they say they know what a carved turn is, and I don't need to go down a whole rabbit hole here, but I mean, there's definitely differences in skiing and there's differences in jumping. Like, that's one of the frustrating things. Like as a former athlete, you can see somebody who like, oh, damn, that's a good full. Like compared to somebody else where it's like, that's a shitty full. As someone that used to do shitty fulls and look around the corner, like I'm fully aware of the difference, but I don't know if a judge is going to be able to pull that off. Like, it's just interesting. Like, and you even see that a little bit at selections, like some of those scores, those scores there, you're like, okay, that wasn't that great of like a back tuck or, a full up top. You can tell that he's dropping around the corner a little bit as a coach. And then you look at the score and, all right, why is that like a 9-3? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Edog knows this game.
Yeah, I know the scheme with the back full up there. I know how to sell a judging panel. You know that.
What you got to do? You got to sell them.
You got to sell them. You got to play to your strengths. But I think, to your point, Murph, on the going, a solid 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 is like, you brought up Dylan there, great example. But like, if we were going off of the actual percentages right now, like, that guy would have a win under his belt. Like 60% of the score is supposed to be your turns. So I think it's less on the percentages and more like what the panel's actually looking at.
Yeah, you're saying
in my eyes, really, we got
right
5
now.
overall impressions down there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Which is tough, but that's
And
the way
to
it
Bob's
is.
point too, I think there's something to be said for like I was trying to like change the rules to make things better instead of just like addressing the problem. But that was just my point to like how would you allow the doubles and that stuff to come
Yeah.
in.
I mean,
That's
I'd love to see a double in moguls.
Yeah,
But I would
there are guys that
not
are capable
want
of
to
doing
see
it.
a jump change, like an actual jump and landing. Like, if they just straight allowed it and was like, we're not going to change courses, awesome. Guys do it. Great for the sport. But like, once you start getting into that field and then like slowly, I think we're getting into just bigger and bigger jumps, pads, and less moguls.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, it'll be interesting if you're able to get the money and convince somebody to do an old school pro tour, right? Where there are no jumps. You could literally create your own, and like you want to do inverts, sure. All right, pick your bump. Do you want to flip? All right, sign the waivers. If we sign enough waivers already, whenever you're at the ski hill, just sign one more. Like, if I break my neck doing this back full off of a mogul, all right, I'll take the risk on it. But I think
maybe that would be sick if the World Cup tour was like it was a combination of everything. Like you had one stop where you had some huge jumps where people could do whatever they want. Then you have a stop where there's no jump. Like it'd be kind of cool if you had some diversity there. It's like, I don't know, in like car racing, there's like, not in NASCAR obviously, but if you're like a Formula One, there's like different tracks and there's different
for sure.
Some tracks are like super technical, some tracks are super fast. It'd be cool if we had a little bit more of that maybe.
It'd be very cool.
Or a pro tour of that, where like the pro tour was structured so that it was different every time.
Yeah. Well, I think that there you would see a big difference in the skiing and in the jumping, and I think that that would be pretty exciting. Especially you pull up some of those old YouTube videos of the old pro mogul tour, and it's just a hilarious free for all of people going down like Silver Fox at Snowbird, just cooking.
I wouldn't want to do a flip off a mogul like into more moguls. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd have to be soft. You'd have to wait for the powder day. Like, all right, boys, here we go.
Here we go.
But also, I think it would be interesting too, because like back then, the ski length would be super interesting. Like now that skis are so much shorter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, you had guys doing like helis and stuff like that on like some 210s, just craziness. And now like a pair of 175s, 178s. Like,
I've been tossing around the 191s pretty well, so I don't know. I think you can do it.
All right. If anybody can do it, you can do it. I'm fully aware. Yeah, you can definitely. Me, probably not. If it's a full, I'm looking right down the corner. Get me to that landing. All right. So Nations Cup. Are you guys think the U.S. is going to be able to close that one out? We're going to stick with the U.S. there.
Are we in the lead right now?
I'm pretty sure we're in the lead. They don't have like the.
They
don't keep track of that kind of event by event, but at least there's nowhere you can find it.
Is it between them and Japan right now?
I would assume that's who it would be between kind of us and Japan. I feel like we are. It's interesting because it doesn't really give you a breakdown of like how they do the points. Like, is it a straight up same points that you get? Translates over to the Nations Cup? So I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we are in the lead there if it is broken down like that. So
France could be looking okay too there, right?
Problem is I just don't think they have much depth. Like after you got the top guys, and then after you got Perrine and Cavett, and then after that, I feel like it who's next on the men's side, and on the ladies' side they just have Cabral, right? I don't think there's really anyone else on the
it's just
the French team.
Perrine and Camille Cabral.
So
yeah. So yeah, I would put. I think that's a safe bet to go US for that. That would be cool.
That would be. Could be due for one.
yeah, it'd be good. Yeah, good year to kind of bring it home, get a little hype train before the Olympic year. And do you guys opinions on that? Do you guys think the Olympics will happen for in Beijing next winter?
I think you're going to find out this summer probably what how happens in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
I think, man, I think yes.
I don't think so.
No.
I think if anything, you'll see a Beijing 2023, but I don't think you're seeing this next winter.
You think they'd combine? I think you. I don't know, man. I think you could. If they can do Tokyo this summer, then for sure. But I could see a scenario where they do Olympics and it's like, you know, obviously way different. No spectating. You know, kind of each discipline
Like
is
an NBA bubble.
yeah. Each discipline almost is in a bubble of itself. For like, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, there were rumblings the other week. You know, I just had Katie Gilchrist on last week on the show, and you know, she was definitely a little bit concerned. Bleacher Report had that article about, you know, Tokyo essentially not happening, and then like the next day, Japanese government comes out and like, nope, it's happening full bore. There's no rumblings, you know, as they would say, but it's one of those things where like, to all the athletes, you know,
that one I would be surprised if that one happens, but I think there's a better case to be made for the Winter Olympics happening.
But you think the Winter Olympics going to China?
Yeah, I think they could do it. First of all, I think like China could throw so much resource at it. And I think when you like think about when you show up to the Olympics, like you show up for all these processing, and you don't even ski for like, I don't know, do we even ski for a week, you know, when we got there? So yeah, you could show up and you immediately are in like your own, instead of having nations in different dorms, it's like disciplines in different dorms, first of all. And then you show up, you test as soon as you get there, you're in your bubble. I could see that happening. Plus, it's not like it's winter anyway, so no one's going to come watch it outside. You know? Yeah, man, I don't know. I could see it happening.
I think it'll happen. I think especially too, as they like ramp up vaccines and everything else, like I think it could be, I think that there will, where there's a will, there's a way. And if they want to be, you know, it will be the first host nation to have the summer and winter. I'm sure China wants to have that in their belt. So they, you know, they'll do everything in their power to kind of make that happen. So I think that there will be a Winter Olympics next year for sure. Summer Olympics, that's the tough one. Because it's coming up quick, and you know, there's still so many cases and issues with vaccine getting spread around and stuff like that. That one I feel like is going to be a nail biter to see if they're actually able to kind of.
I would bet no on that one.
Yeah,
I think. I was also curious. I wanted to bring it up earlier. What's going to happen with like not having a NORAM tour? How do people make the ski team? They're just based off of the FIS points of the, you know.
That is a great question, man. I don't know if they're just going to do essentially if you're on the team, you stay on the team again, or I don't think that it's really been discussed.
We've got to at least open up a few doors there, man. There has to be at least some pipeline for somebody to show up and make it to the Olympics next.
I don't know. I can't remember what the different criteria they could hit this year. I know a lot of it was FIS points, and obviously that guaranteed World Cup spot is not going to happen this year for the NORAM tour. But the new athletes that make the ski team are on the ski team for 2 years, no matter what.
Yeah,
you know, that is part of that. I think last year is what happened. So like, if you just had made the ski team, it's 2 years, no matter how poorly you ski or kind of what happens. You're guaranteed to kind of be on the ski team and have that spot. Which I think is, you know, definitely an interesting break from how they've done things in the past. But well, yeah, so that's a great question. I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I don't even know if there's going to be a nationals.
Yeah, that would be interesting too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be some roadmap for, you know, the Casey and Dringa or the did Mayer do that too? Like not on the ski team to Olympics.
But that was different. You used to be able to make the ski team when you won selections.
Right, but not with Casey.
Not with Casey, but with Mayer, he won selections, made the ski team, and podiumed at his first World Cup.
Right.
and then won the Gold Cup. I mean, he was off to the races.
Right. I feel like so back then they had like a more clear path, but I'm just saying that like there's got to be some way for people who aren't currently on the ski team to have at least some sort of roadmap for the Olympics next year. So that I feel like they just have to figure out a way to make that happen.
Well, the Olympics the whole criteria changed, didn't it?
I think so. I think this year is qualifying for the Olympics. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's only if you're top six on the FIS points list worldwide, you're in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is, I mean, in a normal year, this year would have been massive. And for the people that have capitalized on the shorter World Cup tour, like it's big.
Yeah.
But besides that, it puts kind of a lot out there for everyone else.
Yeah.
Which is how, I mean, at least for the U.S., that's the way it's kind of always been, is that the pressure is that year. They want the hot people going in to the Olympics, and that's kind of how it's always done. So it's pretty much status quo for us. But they did.
I do like that option to be in a year ahead, though, because I feel like if you're one of those people who's in top 6 on the FIS list in the world, you've kind of proven that like you have the ability, and then you can kind of like go out and really work on like training to win the Olympics rather than training to do well on the World Cup tour, like training to like lay down your best possible run, like hardest tricks, fastest skiing, best turns. And that may, like, if you're trying to chase a World Cup tour and get results, you might not have the opportunity to do that. But for somebody who can know this spring that you're going, then you're like your entire summer and early season next year is like devoted to like being having the best possible run that you could do. I think that's good.
Definitely. I mean, there are advantages and I think disadvantages. There's probably more advantages because there's way less pressure on yourself as well. It's not like you have to deal with kind of that stress going in, but then at the same time, are you the hot one? Or, is there someone else out there that has kind of skiing better? And I mean, that in the US, it happens all the time. You had Casey who's skiing hot, and then you've had Mare. I mean, there have been years where those people kind of going in come out and get the result that really aren't expected because maybe they don't really have that pressure either, right? They're kind of new to the ski team. They're new to they're kind of just breaking through, and they don't have a chance to even really like stop and think about it.
Right. I think I think there's like the chance to do both because like it's probably unlikely that you get 4 Americans in the top 6 on the points. So maybe you get 1 or 2, and then you have 1 or 2 spots reserved, or not reserved, but next year that those people can kind of come up and lay it down. So you kind of get like the person who can prep the whole year knowing they're going and try to like come up with the best possible thing, like training to win the Olympics rather than training to do well in the World Cup, which those probably sound similar, but I think there is a difference there. And then you also have the route for the person who comes out next year swinging and is just like ready to jump in.
What do you think, E-Dog?
I mean, I agree with him there. Like somebody like him or Brad and ending the 2017 season, like, probably should have. They're sending, like, they get to train to win the Olympics. Like going into that year is, I mean, you're pretty much pressure all the way till end of January when they confirm your spot. Like until you're locked in, it's pretty real. But it's also, it's kind of wild because you do want the game timer. Like you want the Casey and Dringa. You want someone who's just hot and hungry and they're going. But it's a unique one because almost every other country in the world, they have a team mapped out early. And then the US they're waiting.
Yep. But they kind of, I mean, the nice thing is that they're like that across the board. It's not like in some sports, they have that picked out and everything else. I mean, at least it's a clean slate for pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
That, that they're all going in with the same possibility and the same advantage or, disadvantage or advantage, and knowing that it's totally an open playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Well, gentlemen, thank you guys for taking the time and getting to chat about some bump skiing. Anything else that you guys kind of want to add in here?
I don't think so. I'm pretty excited to watch this weekend. I don't know if I'll be able to watch in person, but hopefully there'll be a live stream or something. I don't know. watch it after the fact. Either way, I'm excited.
I hope so.
Of course, looks good. I was out there today. It looks nice.
So speaking to that, it will be, I don't know if it's live or I think it's a little bit tape delayed. I don't know if there's an actual live stream. I know the Olympic channel will have Moguls on at 2:00, February 4th. So Thursday, 2 p.m. That could be the live. Maybe that's just the finals.
Finals in.
Yep. So that's on the Olympic channel. And then Friday, February 5th, 12:30 Mountain Time. So 2:30 Eastern will be duels on the Olympic channel again. So 4:00 Eastern. I think that's got to be, I would assume that that's live. And then Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, Moguls will be on NBC Sports. So that'll be the tape delay. And then Sunday, February 7th, dual Moguls will be on NBC Sports, 7 p.m. Eastern. And again, February 21st, another Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, Moguls will be on NBC Sports. So
I'm excited to hear Hannah Carney announce it too.
That'll be good.
Yeah. Impressed me with commentating, calling out some pretty technical grabs.
Yeah, no, that was good. I thought that Hannah knew what she's grinding. She's trying to make the get duels in there, right? That would be pretty exciting if we could get that into the O show.
Mm-hmm.
That would be good. Well, also, so this episode we are going to be donating $250 to the ID1 Foundation.
Nice one.
ID1 Foundation assists essentially freestyle mogul athletes throughout the U.S. as they kind of pursue their hopes and dreams of being you guys and being on the ski team and skiing Olympics and stuff like that. So good cause there. Yeah, Emerson, I hope you're enjoying retirement so far. I got the only advice that I have for you, and this is actually from Mick Barry. He told me after you retire, you're going to go out and you're going to ski on some courses and you're going to feel great because you haven't skied at all. You're going to want to think about coming out of retirement. Don't. So that's the advice from Mick Barry. So and I've stood true to that because there are some times I'm like, I feel like I can ski this middle section, but Mick would say don't.
That's very good advice.
Yeah, shouts out to you, Bob. I'm super proud of you for having that donation set up, and also to the ID1 Foundation. They've definitely helped E-Dog and myself, and you too, probably, Bob.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So commend you and the ID1 Foundation. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. This has been a good chat.
Good. Well, the next one, maybe we'll be able to get it in studio, and we'll get Mr. Zemba to kind of come back. He wasn't able to make this one, but I'd love to do it again to kind of wrap up the season and talk about next year. So thanks a lot, guys, and thanks a lot, everybody, for listening in. Till next time.
Thanks.
Later.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're watching or listening on YouTube, please make sure you hit that bell button so you get notified every time a new episode drops. Thanks.